Joining me as my guest on the afternoon show today, we have Chris Nelson, who's one of the organisers of the now famous Ulverston Lantern Festival. Welcome to Can Do FM, Chris.
Good afternoon, Andrea.
Now, luckily and thankfully, the Ulverston Lantern Festival is taking place this year. Last year it was a virtual event, but how are things going? How are preparations getting along?
Things are going really well. Since we announced that we're aiming to have an actual Lantern Festival this year rather than a virtual one like last year, there's been a tremendous amount of interest in the Lantern Festival, which is now set to go ahead on Saturday, September the 25th. That is, of course, allowing for no further wheels falling off the COVID machine, but we're hoping we can go ahead. We're hoping we're going to attract big crowds that will turn out, and we're hoping we'll have a Lantern Festival of anything between 500 and 1,000 people.
That's fantastic. A bit later than normal then this year.
Yes, we originally, when this all started, and for the past few years, we've been holding the Lantern Festival on the second Saturday in September. This year, because we wanted to do it when it was slightly darker so that we could start earlier, we moved it to the third Saturday. But then because of COVID, the Keswick to Barrow Walk, which is a fantastic charity event, actually stole our date. So they decided they had to hold their event on the 18th of September. So we graciously decided, OK, we'll switch hours and we'll hold ours on the 25th. Because, of course, with 2,500 people taking part, the Keswick to Barrow is a slightly bigger enterprise than ours.
Well, yes, and you don't want to be walking around the Lantern Festival having walked 40 miles on the Keswick to Barrow.
Yes, I've done Keswick to Barrow in the past, and my feet certainly wouldn't be up to spending the evening going around with the lanterns.
Now, how... You know, as a person that might not have been involved in the Lantern Festival before, how do you go about making a lantern?
Well, first you have to get a kit to make the lanterns. Our lanterns are very traditional in the way that we make them. We make them out of willow withies, which you use to create the frame for the lantern. And that can be anything from something which is sort of table-sized to something which is 20 feet long, which we've done in the past. And there are some massive lanterns which take part in the procession, but they can all be made out of withies, which are tremendously flexible, so long as you soak them first, and tremendously versatile and lightweight and strong. So perfect for making lanterns. So you make your shape out of the withies, you make your frame, and then you cover that with tissue paper coated with PVA glue. Now, when the paper dries, it tightens it up, and it also makes it fairly waterproof, so long as we're not talking waterfalls here. Mm. So it's tight, it's waterproof, it adds rigidity to the actual frame of the lantern. And then inside that lantern, traditionalists put a candle, and more modern people or more up-to-date people often now use LEDs, battery-operated LEDs, which are a fantastic asset for making lanterns because you can do the most amazing things with them. You can have them change in colour. You can have strips of lanterns, all very light, which they ideally need to be. So really, it's adding to the creativity of our lanterneers, as we call them. And that's the hundreds of people, often through generations of families, who make lanterns for the Lantern Festival each year. And they're the ones who really bring it to life. And they're the ones who really make the Lantern Festival happen by agreeing to take part, by buying the kits. The kits are £5 each, and they're available during August from Appleseeds on Market Street and also from the Market Hall. The whole enterprise is very community driven. No one's paid to do it. We all do it because we love doing it. But we do get some support from CGP, the educational book people, from SLDC, the district council, from the town council, and also, of course, from the people who put their hands in the pocket on the night and donate into the donation buckets, yeah, which we carry around on the field.
Yeah. Now, are there any workshops this year?
The workshops, we're hoping to have workshops this year.
Well,
At the moment, we're struggling to...
Hold that thought. Let's play a little bit of music and we'll come back and we'll talk about those in a minute. I'm here with Chris Nelson, my guest on the afternoon show, and we're talking about the Ulverston Lantern Festival, which is taking place on the 25th of September this year. Now, we've talked about the lanterns themselves, Chris, and the fact that you can get a kit for £5 from Appleseeds in Ulverston. However, you know, traditionally, in the past, you know, we have run a series of workshops. Are they happening again this year?
The workshops will, we hope, be happening this year. We're struggling to find a venue at the moment because our normal venue has been booked for something else. But we are working with a number of potential partners to try and ensure that somewhere around or within the town centre, there will be a space where we can make lanterns. Obviously, hundreds of people decide to make their lanterns at home, in the garage, in the garden, and that's perfectly feasible. Yeah. But if you've never made a lantern before and you don't want your own environment getting messy, you come along to our lantern festivals where to our lantern workshops, where we have the materials, we have spaces, we have coverings on the floor, so it doesn't matter if it gets a bit wet and sticky. And people can then exercise their creativity, bring their children along, bring their grandparents along to the Lantern Festival, and also get some occasionally useful advice from the Lantern Committee members who are running those workshops. But the lanterns kits.
What's the theme? What's the theme this year?
Right, the theme this year is My Favourite Things, which is a nod, I suppose, to The Sound of Music, but it's also about giving people freedom because they've been cooped up with COVID and people have been having a lot of opportunity to think what their favourite things are. So we're giving them that total creative freedom, whatever you like, whether it's spaceships, whether it's submarines, whether it's animals, vegetables, minerals, whether it's insects, whether it's birds, whether it's storybook characters or Star Wars. You can just choose anything which you like and make it as a lantern. And then you can take it into our procession and go through the town and obviously finish the finale at Ford Park when, as usual, there'll be a massive firework display to delight everyone.
Yeah, it's going to be a fantastic event, as it always is. It's a really spectacular event. Now, finally, where would people find more information?
We can find more information at the Lantern Festival website. If you put in Ulverston Lantern Festival, you'll come up with a link to the website. You'll come up with a link to the Facebook page. It also appears on Choose Ulverston. There are details about it on the Ulverston Town Council website. So there's lots of opportunities, but the best places are the website or the Facebook page. There you'll find the latest information about what's happening with the festival, the latest information on where you can buy the kits, which are at the Market Hall and also at Appleseeds, and maybe some pictures of people making their own lanterns over the summer so that you can get some ideas about how you can make yours.
Yes, that would be fantastic. And if anybody's got any pictures like that, you can send them into Can Do FM as well, and we'll put those on our Facebook page too. It's been a pleasure talking to you. You're going to be back again in the run-up to the Lantern Festival, so we'll see you again soon. And thank you to you and your team for all the work that you put in to arranging this fantastic event for the area.
Thank you, Andrea.